Welcome everyone to the Municipality of Tweed Council meeting of May 19th. We always begin our meetings with our land acknowledgement. The Municipality of Tweed recognizes that our work takes place on traditional Indigenous territories, including the Huron-Wendat, Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee peoples. We recognize and respect the history, languages, and cultures of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all Indigenous peoples whose presence continues to enrich our communities. Miigwech. Could I have a mover and a seconder for the approval of our agenda meeting for today? Oh, super. Thank you. Oh, look at all those hands going up for approval. Yeah. Thank you. Now, can I have a mover and a seconder for today's council agenda, please? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Any questions on said agenda? Seeing none, all in favor. Thank you. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Could I have a mover and a seconder for the adoption of the April 28th, 2026 regular council meeting, please? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Any questions on those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor. We'll move on to my mayor's remarks. Well, spring and summer have both finally arrived. Hallelujah. And so far, so good. At least no black flies at our home anyway. On April 30th, I attended the Hastings County Council meeting, and that evening I enjoyed other local residents for Peeps Who Care, a charitable fundraising initiative organized by Councillor Valiquette. I'm happy to report that I made a pitch for funding Mission Moo, and I'm thrilled that Peeps Who Care have donated $2,000 to that cause. With Chuck's and my commitment of $3,000, that brings us to $9,000, surpassing our $8,000 goal for purchasing and butchering a local cow. The meat will be provided to our food bank for helping those in need. Any additional funds will be used to buy different cuts of local meat. Thank you to everyone who came forward to help the most vulnerable in our community. All donations made to our Gateway Community Health Center in support of this initiative will receive a charitable tax receipt. On May 1st, I was joined by Deputy Mayor Demarche, Councillors Valiquette and Fleeler, and all-time volunteer Jim Keniston as we doled out tree seedlings to residents. Thank you to Cindy and Brittany for coordinating the event. On May 5th, I hosted Kiwanis Governor Cynthia Blackman, the Governor of the Eastern Canada and the Caribbean District of Kiwanis International. Joining me were Kiwanians Marge Buck and Gord Armstrong. We talked about Kiwanis' commitment to our community, highlighted some of our major achievements, and had a tour of our library. On May 7th, I met with Sue McCowan, Tessa Breen, and Amy Lynn Van Londersel from Community Care Central Hastings to look at ways to address food insecurity. That evening, I attended both the Kiwanis executive and general meetings. On May 12th, I participated in the Central Hastings Support Network Transit meeting. Kudos to Victoria Treverton and her team for turning around a service that was on the brink of failure to one that is now very sustainable. Meeting minutes and ridership stats can be found in today's council package. It is apparent from the numbers that our residents rely heavily on this service. On May 13th, I attended the County Community and Human Services Committee meeting. That afternoon, Deputy Mayor DeMarche and I attended the Joint Fire Services Board meeting. On the 14th, I attended the Community Care Central Hastings Seniors Expo at the White Building. Also in attendance were Deputy Mayor DeMarche and Councillors Fleeler and Valley-Kent. Congratulations, Monica Lore, for pulling this amazing event together. Also that day, the four of us presented a certificate to Ryan Thompson on the opening of his new business, RST Collision and Service. It is wonderful to see this young man take over the reins from Uncle Steve Dunning. That afternoon, I met with Cheryl Kerr and Hassani Brissett from MedX Health Services to discuss opportunities to support long-term care nursing and PSW needs. This year, new long-term care homes will be opening in Central Hastings, Belleville, and Napanee, increasing the demand for staff in the health service industry that is already struggling to find qualified personnel. MedX Health Service currently supports our Moira Place. On May 15th, we witnessed the installation of the Queensboro Prefab Bridge. I was joined by Deputy Mayor DeMarche and Councillors Valley-Kent and Fleeler. I'm absolutely thrilled that we have been able to move forward with an infrastructure project. Happy to report that in the next 2 weeks, we'll be installing the prefab Kinlan Bridge. Our Flinton Road tenders close on, I believe it's May 28th. When you have to front 100% of the cost, as opposed to 33% prior to this council, then it takes a lot longer to amass the funds required to undertake major infrastructure projects. Prior to 2023, the federal and provincial governments shared equally in major infrastructure projects. However, during the term of this council, the funding taps have run dry. Although provincial infrastructure funding was absent in 2023, 2024, and 2025, we are grateful that they came forward with $820,000 for well upgrades in 2026. Just a reminder that since August 2025, the province has helped support infrastructure initiatives in Hastings County to the tune of $52.4 million, of which we received 1.56%. Hence, this is why it takes us longer to complete major infrastructure projects, since we have to raise 100% of the required funds. On the 16th, I made my way to the Tweed Horticultural Plant Sale and then to the Tweed and Area Heritage Center Garage Sale. Both these organizations work tirelessly to set this municipality apart from our neighbors. We are grateful for all that they do and all that you do and to your commitment to this community. This morning, I chaired the County Planning and Economic Development meeting, followed by the County Finance, Property, and Personnel meeting. The municipality of Tweed has embraced secondary unit or additional residential unit concept in our zoning bylaws. As a point of interest, the federal government has introduced Multi-Generation Home Renovations Tax Credit Program, MHRTC. MHRTC is a refundable tax credit that can allow you to claim up to $50,000 of expenses related to creating a self-contained secondary unit for eligible relatives to live in. Since the MHRTC was introduced in 2023, relatives have included parents, grandparents, child, grandchild, sibling, aunt, uncle, niece, or nephew, who is either at least 65 years older or is eligible for the disability tax credit. The definition of qualifying relatives now includes spouse, common law partner, or any of these individuals. This change applies retroactively to 2023. So if you've renovated in the past couple of years, you may be able to file an amendment to claim the credit. I only say this is because we have people who are interested in adding additional residential units, and this might be an opportunity to be able to get some assistance in that regard. I'm pleased to report that the social supports for residents in crisis that I proposed and tabled at an early meeting is now official. This document will be updated regularly as new supports come online. Please note that the Food Bank and St. Mary's of Egypt are currently working on their component pieces. And as you have likely heard, Chuck and I have sold our beautiful home. The closing date is July 8th. We have secured an apartment here in town so that I can continue my term as mayor. Enjoy this wonderful weather and happy planting. Okay, we have two delegations today. I'd like to call to the podium, if you would, Jim Wilson. And the mic is on, right? Okay, good. Okay, so welcome, Jim, and I hear you have some property standards concerns you'd like to address.
Yes, I do. Thanks very much. I live at 146 Pomeroy, and rental residence next door to us is 138 Pomeroy. There's two families living in it at the moment. There have been some property issue problems over the last number of years. Recently, one of the individuals that lives there, not a tenant, but lives with one of the tenants, purchased a non-registered house trailer. It's a 30 by 35 by or 30.5 foot by 8 foot mobile home, and it was parked on the road. And he was told this was on April 27th to 29th, it was sitting on the road. He was told by Kevin that it was the bylaw enforcement officer that it would have to be taken off the road. So Monday morning, he backed the trailer onto his side property, which we're part of it. So the trailer is now on our property as well as on his property. And it's facing the road. I indicated that is on our property. And he said, no, it's not. And I have the plans, and I know he's like about 2 feet over on our property. He indicated to Kevin that the trailer was going to be used for refit and then moved up to Marble Lake. There's been no work done on it for the last 2.5 weeks. And it's been sitting there vacant. Kevin was on the understanding that the trailer was going to be moved that evening, either to the driveway next door on the other side of the property or somewhere else. And the individual assured him he would. It was still there on May the 5th. And then on the day of May the 5th, I saw him. He was driving the furniture truck in town, the Mennonite furniture truck. He works for them, and he stopped me and he said that he was going to move it that night, the trailer, and it's still sitting there. So I don't know what the standards are, but I thought, if somebody moves a trailer or something on your own property, I don't think it should be up to me to have to go to court to take him to move it. I thought there's bylaw property standards to look after moving that trailer and getting it off the property. He's had a number of other issues too. The boulevard, the road was done last year, and the grass boulevard was put in between the sidewalk and the road. And he parked his vehicles on that boulevard, tearing up the grass boulevard. He promised Kevin that was going to be fixed. And on the weekend, I've got pictures. He parks the Mennonite furniture store truck on the front lawn of his house. It was there all weekend. So he's got no respect for individuals in the neighborhood. We try to look after our house, try to maintain it, as well as the residents across the street that are being built, or Scott's property and all the other houses. So I'm looking for some assistance from council or municipality to have that trailer moved. So that's the issue. That's the one issue I have on that trailer.
Okay, thank you very much, Jim. I see we have Kevin out there. I think typically what we'll do is, Kevin, did you hear, you're well aware of the issue?
Yeah.
Okay. What we'll do is we'll follow up with Kevin, okay, and we'll address this pronto.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I had a couple of other issues. The Rashad building site across the street. Well, it's not across the street from us, but what is across the street from us is their stage 2 lot, and it's complete garbage dump right now. They're dumping all their gravel, their rocks, their stones. It used to be a nice field, and it's just an eyesore to our property, certainly not adding any value to our property. I don't know if anything could be done on that either.
I'm not sure on that. We'll have to look into it because I know that there are different guidelines in place to deal with construction sites. So we'll take a look at that, and then we'll get back to you on that one.
Okay, and quickly, the third thing, Pomeroy is a no parking on both sides of the street, all the way up. From my recollection, there's only one no parking sign on the north side, which is what we live on. And it's right now, it's in the hedge of Steve Ferguson's property. You can't see the no parking sign. All the way up, there's no parking signs. And I would suggest, and I've mentioned it, but I didn't write it down. And
We sent someone out to look at
Yep.
a couple signs on there, but sign, for sure, just not the percent.
It's not just not visible.
Okay.
What I was thinking, just a suggestion is the one no parking sign could be put up in front of 138 Pomeroy Street, right beside us. On the boulevard, it's, village property. And that way they can't see, well, I can't see, there's no sign.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you very much. Appreciate you taking the time and coming forward with
Thank
your
you.
concerns. Thank you. We'll do it later, okay? Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Okay, as our second delegation here. Oh, there, okay. One moment, it's gotta. Okay, we're going to, at this point, we're going to welcome Jennifer Diaz, Senior Project Manager with Ainley Group. And she's going to be talking about the River Street West subdivision. So welcome. Is it? That's okay.
Sorry about that. Getting
No, that's fine.
connected. Everybody can hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you for having us. There's a few of us here today to present our proposal for 430 River Street West in Tweed. My name is Jennifer Diaz. I'm the project manager working on the project. We have Alex, are you? I'm just trying to see if I'm moving this or you are. Yeah, that just gives you the names of everybody if you needed to copy any of them down. So Alec Wilkinson, also from Ainley Group. He's our stormwater management expert. We have Ian McDonald on the phone with Blue Metric, who is our hydrogeologist. Chris Conti is on the phone as well, and he's our planner with EcoView. So today is just to give an overview of the project, where we've gotten so far, a little bit of background, and then talk about some of the comments we received and just how we've mitigated measures based on those comments, and then present an alternative concept for consideration since we've received those comments. So the site location, if some of you are not aware, it's along the north side of River Street West, just at Crookston Road, at the urban boundary of Tweed. There's existing residential to the east. There's vacant land to the north, full of tree wooded area. Agricultural to the west. And then across the street to the south is the long-term care facility, Moira Place. Within the site, there is the 2 wells, 3 and 4, for Tweed. They supply water to the town. So the draft plan proposal submission that we made included this concept, which was 20 single-family lots with a minimum of 1.14 hectares, or sorry, that was the entire lot property coverage. The minimum frontage was 15.8 at the original submission. The road, 210 meters long, ending in a cul-de-sac, and the stormwater management block located down at the bottom of the grading close to the road. And you'll see that the 2 wells are approximately located on the well property owned by the municipality. The revised proposal, after getting comments back from both the Conservation Authority and the peer reviewers, we've put a 30-meter buffer around the wellheads and relotted the plan. The 2 immediately that actually encroached that 30-meter buffer have been modified so that they're now considered a parkland. There's now 23 lots with 12-meter frontages, which is permitted within the R1 zoning. And the right-of-way has remained the same, and the storm block has remained the same. And now I will pass it over to Chris, who will cover the planning aspects.
There we go. Can everyone hear me? Mr. Mayor,
can.
members of council?
Yes, we can. We can.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Jennifer, and thanks to the mayor and members of council for allowing us to make this presentation today. So Jennifer's described the basic elements of the proposal. I'm senior planner with EcoView Consulting, and we've prepared the planning justification report for proposed subdivision. And as you know, the County of Hastings official plan sets out policies for the area. The village of Tweed is one of the urban areas in the county, and so it's also subject to the urban community secondary plan. So the property is designated urban residential in the urban community secondary plan. And it's one of the urban areas in the county. The urban residential designation provides for urban residential development in an urban form. And included in the types of development permitted in the designation are single detached, semi-detached, and other forms of residential development. The minimum density in the urban residential designation is 10 residential units per gross hectare. So the proposed development fits within this density. And the entire site is designated urban residential, but you can see on the plan, the blue area where the municipal well building is. It's in the southwest corner. And the official plan in section 4.2.1.10 states that wildlife protection area A, which is that blue space, includes 100 meter radius from the municipal well. So on that basis, it will potentially restrict some of the development area from the urban residential use. However, the entire 100-meter radius is still designated urban residential. The area was not placed in a land use designation that would prohibit development. And the policies in the official plan do allow for ways based upon certain requirements to develop within the wildlife protection areas, including wildlife protection area A. So there's no minimum buffer specified around the wildlife protection area, even though the area itself is identified as having a 100-meter radius around the municipal well. A number of policies in section 4.2 of the county official plan, including section 4.2.115, 4.2.119, 4.2.120, and 4.2.121, indicate ways that development can be allowed in wildlife protection area A, and based upon studies that are completed and mitigative measures that might be identified. In particular, section 4.2.1.21 indicates that studies such as a hydrogeological report, water quality assessments, both prevention and contingency plans can be completed to address potential impacts on drinking water sources. Section 4.2.113 identifies types of activities that are drinking water threats. So based upon those policies, the intent is to restrict activities in the wildlife protection area and in areas of the subject property where the policies apply to conform to these requirements and to implement the recommendations of the required studies and the restrictions in the bylaw. Okay, the next slide, please. The property is zoned residential density 1 in Tweed Comprehensive Bylaw 2012-30, and that zoning permits single detached dwellings. The lots will conform to most standards in the R1 zone, in particular with the passage of the new zoning bylaw that changed the standards for the residential density 1. It was passed, I believe, in the fall. And Section 5.48 of the zoning bylaw limits the use of land in Wildlife Protection Area A to existing uses. However, as explained previously, Sections 4.1 and 4.2 of the official plan include requirements through which development can be permitted in the wildlife protection areas. And Wildlife Protection Area A is not excluded from those policies. So we concluded that development can be permitted within Wildlife Protection Area A if supported on a technical basis by the required studies. Our assessment is that the policies that are in the official plan and zoning bylaw are precautionary and not prohibitive. Studies can be completed for the proposal to support the proposed development, and those that have been completed, including the hydrogeological assessment, support the development based upon the implementation of mitigative measures. The zoning bylaw should not prohibit land uses that are permitted in the official plan, and in our opinion, the residential use is permitted within the 100-meter area identified as wildlife protection area A. So that's basically my assessment of the planning requirements, and I'll pass it along to the next person.
Good afternoon. My name's Ian McDonald. I'm a vice president and senior hydrogeologist with BlueMetric Environmental, and we've been asked to comment on the possibilities of hydrogeological aspects of the proposed subdivision. And as we said, that the majority of the site is within the 100-meter radius of the Wildlife Protection Area A. And as Chris has pointed out, the redevelopment of that for residential use is not prohibited by the Source Water Protection Plan, but that studies such as what we have to do, what we have done, would be required for that. In order to minimize the potential, and we stress that it's the minimizing, it's not, there's no 100% guarantee on things, but it is the potential that has to be done, is this is in keeping with the source water protection measures that was alluding to, is to prohibit the handling and storage and applications of pesticides and fertilizers, prohibit the handling and storage of solvents and DNAPLs, prohibit geothermal energy systems, educate homeowners on the risks and procedures when fueling yard equipment, and to come up with a risk management plan for road salt use, and encourages those best management practices for homeowners when in their use of salt as well too. Next slide, please. So risk management plan would be between the municipality and the risk management officer. So that would be from the Conservation Authority. And so the responsibilities would be a joint venture between the risk management officer and the municipality. The recommendations that we are putting forward for the risk management plan would include that the stormwater facility that's proposed has to have a liner to prevent the water that goes into the stormwater pond from exfiltrating out and infiltrating into the ground surface. All catch basins, stormwater piping would be designed and constructed to be watertight. all the drainage swales for snowplow runoff, be the areas where the piping would be. Also have to have impermeable material, again, not to let the salt burden material come into it. Grading to direct stormwater runoff away from the wellheads. And snow piles should be plowed to areas where the runoff goes to those lined swales. So we don't want the snow to be piled up close to the wellhead area. As part of this is the next point down is that the new shallow monitoring wells would have to be put in for that, and those wells can be monitored for both water levels and for chemistry, and increased monitoring of the production well for the sodium and chloride concentrations to give an early warning if anything is not protected by what is proposed with these risk management plans. The homes have to be constructed with no structures below the water table, and that's why the monitoring wells would have to be put in within the overburden. 2 to 3 shallow monitoring wells would be required in order to determine that high water table. And then those wells would act as long-term monitoring wells to give some kind of early warning if anything would be coming in terms of things with water levels and with salt levels that could be detected before it gets to the wellhead. And next slide, please. So some of the concerns that have come up from this raised by the risk management officer and the peer review, most of them have been addressed in our updated hydrogeological report. But some of the mitigation measures that would be required is we really have seen that the 100-meter radius would be reduced down to 30 meters on that. So it can still be no actual building aspects within that area. The source water protection plan may not be able to actually prohibit fertilizers and pesticides because those prohibitions are certainly meant for larger scale type of operations that are using it, and there'd be sort of small quantity exemptions from that. Having said that, there's still clauses within the planning aspects of things that we put on title lots, on lot titles to prevent that, or at least to bring homeowners aware of why they are. Why those measures were put in place, and if they do going to use them, and that would be a decision that would be between the RMO and the municipality as to actually put it on the title, or just to educate the homeowners on why they should be used or why they should not be used, and if they are used, to be used in a conscientious way. The other aspect is to a detailed road salt assessment. This has been done in other municipalities, principally in the region of Waterloo, where our office is, and we've done a lot of work on with respect to road salt. What the road salt assessment would do is to be informative in terms of determining determining what the potential loading of salt could be to the well without any protections, without any of the proposed mitigation measures in place. And then also to come up with what it would be with those mitigations and measures into place. So that access, or that assessment would be informative. It would help to reduce or determine the risk that's associated with the using of salt for roads and snow removal. It would be informative, but it's not an actual mitigation measure itself. So all the risk management plans, which is the next slide down with the long-term impacts that we talked about with the early warning and all the other preventive aspects, no matter what happens with the road salt assessment, would still be needed. So those are the plans that would have to be taken place. All the road salt assessment does is to give you a better understanding of the aspects associated, or the amount of risk that's associated with it. I think that's it for my slides at this time, but happy to answer questions to you after we go through the presentation.
Deputy Mayor DeMarsh had a question.
Yeah, sure.
Hi, Ian. Just going back to your first slide, what's a DNAPL?
Oh, sorry. DNAPL is a dense non-aqueous phase liquid. Commonly, it is a liquid that sinks when it gets into the water table. The most common aspect of what a DNAPL compound is would be um, uh, solvents that are used either for cleaning metals, but also for cleaning when they were pressing clothes. So that the old solvent that you used to go into the yard or into the shops that you were using for pressing your suits and that's the chemical that we're talking about. It's largely been phased out in many areas of things, but there's been a lot of work right down now with a lot of chemicals that have had quantities of that have been taken out of that a lot of the chemicals and replaced with other compounds. So used a lot in degreasing operations and things like that. So it's really not any applicable aspect certainly of any large quantities of this that would have it. Some of the rubbing compounds that you could use at a household size used to have a little bit of it in it, but they've all been removed from it. So from a point of view from the use at a residential area, it would be extremely minimal.
Okay, just to follow up, there was one other conversation we'd had prior about home heating oil storage and large quantities of fuel storage.
Correct.
You had
Yeah.
mentioned on there about some prohibits on title for those properties just to protect that waterhead. Does that encompass like home heating oil and like large diesel tanks?
Well, I think it's again, there's a quantity exemption with that. So things that would be used for your home heating would be allowed for it. But if they were to be used, it's a question of where they're going to be located on it. But they are exempt from that prohibition because of the size of the tanks that would be with it.
Okay, thank you.
And could I just mention that the area is serviced by natural gas? So I don't anticipate that would be a large concern in this development.
Right. Yeah, I didn't expect we'd be back to home heating oil, but it was just a question that was asked. That's all. Thank you.
Okay.
Councillor Valiquette.
So I'm just kind of curious, are there any other, or do you have any examples of other municipalities that were limited by, say, the 100 meters and have moved in as tight as 30 meters?
There's no known examples that I have. There are
No, not an exemption, an example.
examples. Yes, I know. There's no other that I know of where that have come in since the source water protection measures have come in. There are several areas where there has been after or before the fact. So there have been wellheads that have been established within residential areas prior to all the source water protection measures coming in. So they have been there, but they couldn't, basically get rid of all those houses just because they were within 100 meters of the wells. So existing, but not that that I know of new ones coming in. No.
Thank you.
Are you finished, or is there anything else you wanted to say? I have a couple of comments.
Oh no, but you can ask. Go ahead.
Okay, this is to the all of you and together. Jennifer, is this the presentation? Are we done at this point, or is there somebody else going to speak?
Alex, on the stormwater management aspect, because I know that was something that had come up and there had been some back and forth on that as well. So that would finish it off after Alex is finished with stormwater.
Okay, let's move to Alex and then we can have a discussion.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mayor and members of council for receiving us today. I'm Alex. I'm responsible for the stormwater management in this development. In this slide, I'm going to cover what our initially proposed strategy for stormwater management was for this development, some of the comments we received back from the Conservation Authority and other reviewers, and then over the next couple of slides, just discuss how they were considered and how they were incorporated into the currently proposed development. So the primary stormwater management objectives for this site are the quantity control and quality control. And quantity control is simply not increasing the amount of peak flow rates that are received downstream during a storm event. And quality control relates to the water quality treatment that's provided on site. Our initial proposal was for an enhanced level, also known as level number 1 with the Ministry of the Environment, which corresponds to a 80% total suspended solids removal. And TSS is really just the grit that's contained within the runoff. So generally speaking, our system was designed so that the storm sewer would collect and convey site runoff towards an oil grit separator, which is like a manhole, but it's a treatment device that provides the initial level of quality control. From there, it would discharge to the swim pond, which is a surface level facility in the southwest corner of the site next to the wells. And there it would receive further polishing for treatment, and it would be temporarily retained in that area by an orifice control outlet. And doing that, it would control the peak flows that are received in the downstream municipal storm sewer, which had a piped connection to the on-site system. So upon this, and after the initial review of this strategy, some of the comments we received back were first and foremost that the use wasn't prohibited by the source water protection zone, that we should strive to have minimal to no infiltration between the swim system and the subsurface, that trenches for the storm sewer and other servicing like sanitary and water main be considered as pathway for contaminants, and that measures be considered to limit them acting as such. And also there was concern for the proximity of the stormwater management ponds storage volume in relation to the wells. And some of the recommendations we had there were that we considered not having a swim pond, but rather just have the storm sewer from the development discharge directly into the municipal system along River Street, and then do an analysis of the downstream system to demonstrate that the impacts would be accommodated. Sorry, I should say the impacts would be minimal and that it could accommodate the additional flow. So we considered these comments, incorporated them as best we could. When it came to the swim pond, we believe that it is beneficial to keep it there because its removal would result in increased peak flows to the downstream system, reduced quality control, and generally at the outlet of the site, the drainage conditions wouldn't be maintained from existing conditions, which is the core philosophy for stormwater management. In trying to complete a downstream analysis, it would significantly increase the amount of engineering analysis required. I've put here a picture that shows our site and the flow path down to the lake. And the red area is the general tributary area to this flow path, which it represents a 17 times the study area we initially considered. And it's also over a kilometer of flow path that we consider, which is a combination of natural and built infrastructure. And we run into difficulties there because we have areas like this. This is where the municipal system outlets to the natural environment. So you can see it goes into no defined banks and just a dense vegetation. So it's hard to know for sure how the runoff would be conveyed through there and what impacts it might have. And then even in built areas, like further downstream, this here might be difficult to see, but it's a kind of like a slit trench or a ravine next to an existing house, and it's uncertain how it accommodates the current level of flows. So this would be an area that could pose a constraint to accepting the increased peak flows from the site directly into the system and sending it downstream through these existing residential lands. So, like I said, the swim pond, we propose it to be in the same location because we believe it's the optimal location for it. When it comes to stormwater management, you want to have your controls at the downstream limit of the site. That allows for most of the site to reach it and be under its influence. It's also adjacent to Crookston Road, which provides an additional degree of access from that right-of-way. And also, if it were to clog or be obstructed in an emergency event, it would also allow it to overflow onto the municipal right-of-way and safely get away. But recognizing that the swim pond storage did provide an opportunity for some kind of interaction, we tried to best mitigate it through incorporating some features that were a bit beyond what typically might be considered. So first and foremost, the facility was designed with no permanent pool. So I call it a swim pond, but it's actually called the facility type's a dry pond. And it doesn't have a a permanently retained volume within it, and it's only temporarily detained during storm events. We would also have an impermeable liner within the facility, so any water that was stored there temporarily is prevented from migrating down into the subsurface, and also incorporating that same measured into the upstream storm sewer to try to reduce its factor as a pathway for contaminants. And also taking the swim facility and trying to focus on quantity control only. To provide quality control within the swim facility requires a longer detention time. And even though we've taken in these considerations to try to reduce the interaction between the two, we've decided that we'll reduce the detention time. And in doing so, with the other controls we have, we still achieve a basic level of treatment, which is a 60% removal, and as a level 3, is what the ministry would call it. So overall, at the quantity control, there's no increase to peak flow rates at the site outlet, which maintains whatever the existing downstream conditions are. There's no worsening of them as a result of this development. The quality control, there's still a level of quality control provided that's recognized by the ministry. And most importantly, that the interaction between the stormwater and the groundwater is minimized. I think I'll hand it back over to Jen to lead us in the questions.
Okay, any questions from council before I make a comment? Okay, well, first of all, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today and walking us through yet again what you're attempting to do to mitigate any of the concerns that Quinte Conservation, maybe some of us around the table, have in regards to our source water well. I want to just take us back. We were first discussed this back, I believe it was in 2024 when we had our builders forum, and you came forward and presented to council in closed session along with other builders what your development plans were for our municipality. At that meeting was all members of council, as well as the director of county planning, and Brad McNevin, the executive director for Quinte Conservation. At no time during those presentations was it ever mentioned any concerns about being situated near the wellhead. And so basically we were all in agreement, let's go. And then I believe it was brought to my attention that back in the summer of 2025, and further reviewing of the plans, then it was tabled, oh, we've got a problem here with wellhead and development within 100 meters of the wellhead, which sort of set everything into a state of kerfuffle. And at that point, you had undertaken to come up with some of these mitigating ways of dealing with any of the concerns that Quinte Conservation had. First of all, I want to applaud you for being creative and coming up with what could possibly be solutions. Secondly, I had an opportunity to just reflect on this with planning today at our Planning and Development Committee meeting. And they had indicated that what Quinte Conservation is proposing is a proposal. It's not a no, you cannot. And the other thing is that also the concerns related to wellheads extends far beyond of the type of contamination that we would be looking at in this case. And then because you are implementing a number of safeguards in this approach, the contamination is very, very little risk at all. And so personally, I think what I would like to see us do is this would go back to our planning and committee, and we talk about this further to see as long as we are going to protect and find ways of ensuring that primarily salt is the main thing, and you're really addressing that. And it's not one of the really bad contaminants that source water well protection site is concerned about, but you're dealing with it is very admirable and gives me a sense of confidence that it's something that we can overlook, not overlook, but understand. My concern was then when you're doing all of these different things, you're talking about monitoring, having monitoring stations, and then analysis. Who undertakes the cost of this once the development, say, is in place? Is this something which is the municipality would introduce as an additional fee to the residents that are on that particular cul-de-sac? Just like we do when people in town pay for water, people in town pay for their garbage pickup. The rest of the municipality doesn't. So in this case, there would be an additional fee for the monitoring of that. Or what do you think and how that would be managed?
I don't know if anybody else has any ideas, but my thought initially, of course, is that municipality would take on that added cost. But that being said, there are measures that are in place for testing of the wells on site. So it would be it could be a combination. While they're doing those tests, they would look at these other monitoring wells for the development.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything?
I could just add something to that as well, too. I have been involved in other situations where it's been a corporation that looks after the subdivision in terms of that. So I have no idea if that's even feasible for this from a planning point of view, but then that corporation would be responsible for it as well.
Okay, and I guess that corporation then would also be sort of responsible for making sure that people don't use pesticides and whatnot, or follow the guidelines in place for what can and cannot be used within that particular subdivision.
Anything that comes under that would be negotiated as a risk management plan, and that risk management plan would have to be between the Conservation Authority and the municipality, and in terms of what's in that plan, and then it would be up to the RMO to do the inspections to make sure that those measures are doing what they're said they're supposed to be doing. It doesn't get into the cost aspect, but the inspection of that is the responsibility of the RMO in terms of making the enforcement go ahead with it. And the RMO will have powers to, under the Source Water Protection Act, to enforce if things aren't being done the way they're supposed to be doing.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Councillor Valley-Cat.
Just one quick question. If salt's our major concern, we're not going to be using oil or anything like that in these residences, so that we're avoiding all of that. How far is, and you're putting a 30-meter barrier around, how far is River Street from the wellhead?
Oh, River Street?
Yeah.
Right there. Is it not?
I mean, we dump salt on
Yeah.
Crookston Road all winter long.
Yep, it's not, that would be, well, 30 meters is 90 feet.
Yeah, I just didn't know if anybody knew the answer to that question.
I give you
Yeah, I mean, even looking at one of the plans, you can see that, it might be, right from the edge of pavement, you might be looking at 80 meters, to the one well and maybe 70 to the other.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Question.
Just food for thought.
Yes, Councillor Flaylor.
Thank you, Your Worship. Have you had any recent conversation with Quinte Conservation? And another thing, regarding the salt issue, it's a concern everywhere. So Lake Simcoe has done a lot of work in the last few years. And I don't know exactly what they've done, but they had a major problem with salt going into Lake Simcoe. So all those little cities and towns around there, the salt applied to the roadways, it all washes into the lake. And I like, so what I want to know is have you had a recent conversation with Quinte Conservation about all these mitigation steps you're applying here?
Yeah, I spoke with Mark Boone on a number of occasions about this, and so he's quite aware of what we are proposing for it. And the only thing that he was talking about is you can do a lot, you can do more and more studies on this part, but it's not going to change the mitigation measures that are around with it.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Very informative, great presentations, great presentations. And we'll be getting back to you, okay? Shortly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on. Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder to table the chief administrator update as May 19th, 2026, please move. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Thank you, Councillor Valley-Cat. Over to you, Ron.
Thank you, and through the chair. Just a couple updates today. Staff, myself included, along with our fire chief and fire prevention officer, attended the regional emergency preparedness meeting held in Sterling Rodham on April the 22nd. It was a very good meeting, very informative. Also, some very good news as we're on the topic of well water. Quinte Conservation Authority has secured funding to allow the municipality of Tweed to decommission well number 1. As you may or may not know, well 1 is highly contaminated with uranium to a point that it is unusable, not even for a fire purpose to extinguish a fire, because then it would contaminate the whole system, which would cause us a lot of expense and pain to remediate that. The full cost of the closure is approximately $50,000, and Quinte Conservation has secured that funding. So at this time, we're going to take advantage of that opportunity and move forward and close that well or decommission that well. Also, the municipality of Tweed has been encouraged to apply for intervenor status with the Ontario Energy Board with respect to hearings regarding the franchise agreements. And this includes the national natural gas agreements that we have in place right now with Enbridge. So they have actually encouraged us to do this. Part of the hearings will deal with 2 issues that the municipality should be concerned about. One is the length of the agreements. They're approximately 20 years, each agreement. So that's 5 terms of council. And the second one would be if we were to do any road work and we needed to either alter or remove their infrastructure, that's Enbridge Gas's infrastructure, part of the cost would be on the municipality. So we don't agree with that either. Just a few other things. Ryan is in the room today. I just wanted to congratulate Ryan and his team with the successful implementation of the Queensboro Bridge. So that should be opening near the end of the week, but we will keep you posted on that. And just another quick update. I just wanted to review and congratulate Jim Namoski, our new facilities manager. At the start of this year, I think Kate came into my office and handed me a paper from our elevator company indicating that we were going to get increased by 7% this year, bringing our total costs this year to $848 a month, or over $10,000 a year to have our elevator serviced. Through Jim's investigation and negotiations, we found out that the elevator agreement dated back to 1999. So it hadn't been reviewed or updated since. Jim has now renegotiated with the elevator company at a contract cost of $310 a month, or just over $3,700 per year. So he has saved us almost $6,500 just on the elevator contract. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention and congratulate you all on making a great choice to get this individual into place. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more of this coming forward, but I just wanted to indicate and to illustrate how successful that negotiation went, and we're hoping for a lot more of those in the next couple of weeks. So thank you.
Okay, excuse me, any questions? Oh my gosh, my voice is going. Any question? Yes, go ahead, Councilor Valley-Cat.
I don't have a question specifically, but just to build upon the installation of the bridge this week. It is Public Workers Week this week.
Oh.
And I just wanted to publicly thank you and all your staff for everything you do, for your crazy winter months where you're going all the time, and in your summer months where you're tidying up infrastructure and helping extend its life. I just want to thank you very much. And your folks for all they do for us. Thank you.
Yeah, very well done. Thank you. Definitely. It was great to watch that installation, but my God, we were eaten alive by the black flies out there. It was wicked. Nothing like my place. Okay, we did a move in a seconder? Okay, all in favor of the report of the CIOs presented? Thank you. Could I have a move and a seconder to table the Public Works Manager Department update, please? Move in a second. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Over to you, Ryan.
For your worship, just some pretty standard things we've been working on this time of year. We're doing our gravel program, getting ready for calcium this week. We have our tender published. It should be closing on the 28th, and we'll see who we got for low bidders on the surface treatment on Clinton Road. One other thing I forgot to mention in my report is we received our funding for the pothole grant. We got the full amount for $38,000, so some good news. Other than that, what you see is what you get there.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions of Ryan? Yes, Councillor Fleeler.
Your worship, what, like in the tender for the Flinton Road, what kind of treatment are you putting on it? Like, asphalt, tire and chip, asphalt? What kind of, what went out in the tender?
Through his worship, it's a double surface treatment. That was what was brought forward at the capital budget meeting. So we said we were gonna do a double lift of tar and chip on it. And then there'll be pulverizing factor to that. They'll come in and pulverize those sections. They'll be responsible for the final grade on that road as well. It's not a straightforward flat road, so there is a lot of grade changes that need to be made, but that's all.
Okay, thank you.
So
Yes, go ahead.
I only get 2 kicks at this, so I gotta be, anyway, that's a downgrade from what we had originally proposed. We had proposed, an Everlast application. And in the last year, asphalt binder's gone up $145 a ton. With another 6% increase expected this year that's another additional $82 per ton. That would bring the total up to $14.5088 per ton. And like nobody wants this road done more than I do, but we can't continue to work projects that we have to pay for on our own. And we couldn't even, I wouldn't even anticipate wasting grant money to pay. We're paying about a 30 to 40% premium right now because of the world situation. I don't know how we can continue to do this. And I would ask specifically before we grant this project to anyone that we need to have a formal discussion at the table.
We have our next council meeting is early June, right?
June 4th, I think, or something.
June 2nd.
June 2nd, and the contract closes on the 28th. Is it possible to come back here and share that?
To his worship, yeah.
Might as well.
We can have a talk about it, that's fine.
The 28th is a,
Until we do an official award.
yeah, only because I do share, and not that you've done anything wrong. I mean, you're doing exactly as we had said, but the circumstances are really different today, and we want to make sure it falls within the budget that we have assigned for you to be able to undertake to do that. And we already know that you're going to be way over budget when it comes to fuel. Okay, about what you're experiencing. Nobody expected that either. So I don't. If are we okay if we do that?
Sure.
You know, I think, and it would be interesting for us all to have a good handle on what you're experiencing out there when you're trying to line up some work.
Just elaborate on prices as well. So calcium from year to year, we're going up 12% this year
Like Christ, honest to God.
on a $150,000 budget. 15% for $15,000.
Go ahead.
And just some interesting stuff would be nice for us to know is price for Everlife versus what we're doing, proposed doing. And longevity, how long we get out of Everlife versus the other, so we can weigh all those out and.
I think we
part of
already
it.
came to the conclusion that Everlife was going to be way more expensive, although life would be longer. But the point is that we have to address this road situation now. I don't know if you're getting calls, but that's the only calls I get are at Flinton Road. And I did drive it the other day on our way to Petawawa, and it is a disaster. So we're going to have to, be, and the other thing is, as we said in our asset management plan, and as was told to us by MPP Brise, okay, you have to make some hard decisions. And like, for example, there's going to be certain roads we're going to convert back from pavement to gravel. We're going to have to look at how we can keep our costs down the best that we can, because we have no choice. We have no friggin' choice, because we're not getting any funding to help us. I mean, if governments, both levels of government could come forward and give us a third of what it would cost to do all of Flinton Road, we would be fine. Okay, and we'd be able to do it way better than we would hope that we can do it right now, but we can't. So when you're limited with what you have to make some very hard discussions. But I agree with Councillor Fleeler. I would like to see what these things are coming in at, because when we did this wasn't even on the table when we agreed to all of this. And we're going to see it right across our municipality and a whole bunch of other things that we're doing. Like I had mentioned, fuel alone, for example, how that's going to kill us, letting alone that we came off the worst winter that we've had since I've lived in Tweed for 20 years. When it comes to snow removal and snow content. Go ahead, Councillor Fleeler.
So, Your Worship, thank you. So bottom line, we must be physically responsible to ensure the long-term stability and security, rather than focusing on short-term wants. And I know this isn't really a short-term want, it's a necessity. We must now more than ever put a plan in place that will in fact ensure our long-term survival. Added costs of this magnitude will only continue to drive us into financial crisis. And I just don't know how we can continue. Like the original estimate on that one culvert was 500,000. I think Ryan brought that back to us for 50,000. Same culvert. Like, we have to be careful. I don't know.
Good for you.
I don't know what we can do. This installation of this prefab bridge, we worked our tail off to get there. And I got to give Lucas credit for pushing as hard as he did for that project as well. Like the bridge forum,
Lucas,
we saddled him with quite a task, and I sure appreciate the fact that we saved approximately $800,000 on that one bridge. That's amazing. Anyway, we got to continue to do that kind of thing. There's technologies out there that we could use to increase the life of this hard surface application, like that fiber that we talked about a couple weeks ago. I know it's an added cost, but if we could somehow not necessarily start the project, but continue to do maintenance on it, I don't know where they draw the line on that. I don't know.
Anyway, like you mentioned, like we have a number of projects, but this is a project. Flinton Road has been on the books for even when you were like your last council. So these people have been extremely patient.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is a disaster, honestly. Anyway, we've got a plan in place. We're going to look and see what we get from the costs coming in, because if it falls in line, and hopefully not too outrageous, then maybe we can proceed. But however, we'll make that evaluation when those tenders come in. One more comment on this, and then let's move
Just
on.
really quickly for the manager, but isn't it going to be difficult for you if you put out a tender for a 2-stage application, and then we're asking you to speculate on what Everlife would cost? Can you do that?
Through the worship, I believe I've kind of, spoke to those members of council outside of this, double surface treatment for reference is about $8 a square meter. It lasts about 7 years. The Everlight, you get about like 12 years out of it, but it's more than double the cost, right? So, you know, if you get a good roads plan in place where you start putting singles on these after 7 years, that would cost about $4, $5 a square. So you're still cheaper than Everlight in the end, and it's less capital you have to put out all at once. But there's different ways of doing all this, but it is quite a bit more expensive. And we have the tender out now, so we can have that discussion, but I think we cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ryan. Okay, could I have a move, all in favor of the report as discussed? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the consideration of surface treated roadways, please? Mover and a seconder. Thank you, Councilor Palmetier. Thank you, Councilor Valley-Ket. Over to you, Ryan.
Through his worship, staff been kind of battling the last couple of years of some of these failing roads we have across our municipality. Kind of got to a point where we're beating a dead horse with the patch we're doing on, especially say Rapids Road. Probably set aside 10 full days with 2 guys consistently patching Rapids Road, and at this point, for us to kind of go the other route with it, it's going to be cheaper to maintain. We can grade it in a few hours instead of putting several thousands of dollars towards it in staff time and material every year. You all know we have fiscal constraints here that need to be kind of looked at. We're evaluating everything. So to me, this is the only way we can give residents a good service and still be financially responsible for those things. So thoughts?
Just to mention on CBC last night, I don't know if anybody watched it on the national, they had a whole section on potholes and how everywhere in Ontario and Quebec, the pothole situation is extreme because of changes in weather, freeze thaws and whatnot, and it's causing a disaster, and budgets are going through the roof to try and deal with the situation. So, okay, any questions on the report is tabled? Yes, Councillor Flavin.
Your worship, we've already put a patch on the Rapids Road, tar and tip. I don't know what to say, really. And this isn't in the budget. This was never discussed in the budget. But I don't, and what do we do? What do we do? How do we mitigate this expense that we have? Like I said, the products that we use are inferior to what they used to be. Manitoulin sent us an information package stating exactly the same thing. They applied tar and tip to I don't know how many kilometers of roads and they failed.
Just as a point of interest, we have did we say something? Were you going to say something? No, I'm looking at Lori. Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. Even our neighbors are converting their roads back to gravel. We can't do it. We can't do it.
So
like, you know. Yes.
One more thing. What about the hot box? Did we buy that hot box yet? So we're not going to use that at all?
Through his worship, that thing's been going every single day since we got it. And plus our 2-ton as well. Like we would have crews out today as well patching. It hasn't stopped since we've got there.
So how are we going to patch roads that we're going to tear up? Like, I mean, I don't see.
But we have other roads that require still being patched. I mean, when you take out some roads, and how many kilometers was it? Wasn't even that much, 9.2 kilometers out of our whole 880 or 400 kilometers of road.
Yeah, but like I said, this wasn't in the budget.
Yeah, but patching is in the budget. So if we don't have to patch, well, then maybe we'll be able to convert some of these.
Like I said, what do you do? I don't know.
I know. Go ahead, CIO Diskey.
Yeah, just through the chair to the councillor. This is a cost savings measure, so it's not something that we need to budget for. This will actually save us money. Just a comment on Rapids. We're going to convert an area that wasn't treated last year.
That's it.
Okay, so that area will be preserved. It will not be destroyed after 1 year or be put back to gravel after 1 year. That road will stay in place. It's just other portions of Rapids that we'll be addressing. But overall, this will assist us with the asset management plan, just like we addressed bridges. Last year, we're starting to address our roads, and we will continue to bring forward recommendations, whether it's more roads, vertical assets, to help manage our asset management plan. So we do have that in place. And as council knows, you approved a 6% increase this year for reserves to assist us with that. So the asset management plan is in place, and we're going to continue to refine it and fine tune it as we move forward, as we have more time and we have the ability to look at more of our assets and determine, the best way to approach them. Thank you.
Do you want to say, Councilor Palmetier?
Just briefly, like these surface treatments are great when they're in good shape. They are terrible. They're worse than a gravel road when they're in poor shape. It is a lot easier to fix a gravel road when you have a bad spring. I know a lot of people think of gravel roads and how bad they get in the spring, and I think Councillor Flaylor and I live on some of those roads, and but you also notice it in the spring. Those roads that are starting to deteriorate, the surface treated roads, they really deteriorate through some of these last few winters. So it's just, we just don't have the funds. It's not going to happen. We're not going to get the funds for these pieces, and they're downright getting dangerous. So so it's just nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to downgrade a road, but at the end of the day, it's safety as well as something that the municipality can manage fiscally. So
Okay, did you want to say something, Deputy Mayor?
To the mayor, we just, I think this requires a little broader look, especially when there's cost of regrinding a road back to gravel as well. And as I think this requires a little more thought than just a few days and a little more look at it. And it is, from my perspective, it certainly should be a budgetary discussion at that point. But for me, there's probably some candidates here, but I won't know until we see all the costs involved with that. So,
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Ryan.
Through his worship, just to explain the cost a little bit. These are all surface treated roads. We will put our grader out there for a couple of days. It costs some staff time and prices. So we're not bringing a pulverizer to do this. We'll do it.
Okay, thank you. One more question and to go back.
So, like you talk about, scarifying the road. Boo, I mean, sorry. So is that actually taking the asphalt application off the road, or is it working it into the road itself?
Through the worship, yeah, that's right. It's just gonna get worked in. Over
Okay.
time, it'll kind of turn into like a grinding.
Yeah.
You see
Okay.
we used, and then
Yeah.
over the years, we'll put gravel back on top of it. It's like a
Okay.
gravel road.
Okay, good.
That's
Okay.
part of the process anyway, if you recondition a road.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, be it resolved that sorry, I'm on the wrong one. Be it resolved that council receive the consideration for surface treated roadways report is presented, and for the council direct staff to proceed. I think based on what you just told us what the cost is, Ryan, version of all identified surface treated roads totaling 9.23 kilometers to gravel standard in accordance with municipality asset management plan. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, can I have a move and a seconder to table the community development parks and recreation update, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Lamarche. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Over to you, Cindy.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I just have two items, just two brief items, mostly events. We've started planning our culinary event this year, Taste of Tweed. It will take place Saturday, September the 12th. Traditionally, it's been held on a Sunday, but we decided on a Saturday this year, hoping that it'll encourage people to have a longer visit and allow attendees more time to explore and connect and enjoy the experience at more relaxed pace. We found that on a Sunday, everybody was kind of rushed trying to get, trying to get everything done to get their week started. So a lot of it was rushed, and a lot of the vendors felt that it was a bit rushed. So we thought to switch it to a Saturday this year. And we have an outstanding lineup of chefs this year. So we're excited to we're excited for the event coming up in September. The permanent installation of the peace pole as well will be happening in the second week of June. And we're hoping that it's kind of goes without a hitch. We've been waiting a long time for it. So we're excited that this is happening soon. And alongside the peace pole, the committee overseeing the peace pole will be having an event on September the 19th.
Okay,
Which includes a live concert, a community drum circle, and a variety of activities for attendees.
thank you. And also thank you to you and Brittany for all of the new business openings that we've been having and are coming on stream soon. It takes a lot of time and effort, and I really appreciate everything you do, especially since county has pulled back on doing a lot of that. You have now taken it on. So I'm very grateful for you to do that. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay. Be it resolved, the council receive the community development parks and recreation update is presented. All in favor? Thank you. Can I have a mover and a seconder to table the fire department update, please? Thank you, Councilor Palmetier. Thank you, Councilor Fleeler. Over to you, Derek.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Just a couple of updates. Finally got our decon room ready, done and completed, and then operation. It's a great asset to the fire department to help with our cancer prevention and to speed up after calls, doing cleaning gear and drying and stuff. It's amazing to have great equipment like that to do a great job, and the ventilation and stuff in there. So keeps all that smell out of the fire hall now, and there's no more. It's just a way better, good deal for us, and hopefully we can continue on with some more grants and stuff to add to the equipment in there. So, the other thing I'd just like to bring up there, just let all the residents that do burn, just make sure that they do look at the bylaw 2025-28, and that it states in there about burning prohibited debris, and just make sure they understand what that means. It's everybody knows that's your kind of your tires, the dent smoke, stuff like that, tires, chemicals, rubber, plastics, pathological waste, household refuge and stuff like that. So it's prohibited to burn that stuff, and it is a chargeable offense. So just so they know that, just I want to make sure that's out there. We've had a bunch of them, and that sometimes don't understand or say they don't read that, but make sure you do read the bylaw and understand about that there, because that is one of the biggest things that when people are burning, the brush and stuff is fine, but like household or even construction waste is not allowed to be burned either. So anyways, just wanted to get that out and let the residents know, and because it is a chargeable offense, and go from there. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Any questions of Fire Chief? Yes, Councilor.
Your Worship, just on the tire thing, like we still take tires at the wayside. I don't know why anybody burn them. Like it's illegal.
Yeah.
And then we do take the tires. So I mean,
That's the same with recycling now. I can't believe the number of people that will burn their plastics and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, good point. Thank you. Be it resolved, the council receive the fire department update as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the bylaw enforcement April 2026 Tweed bylaw operations log report, statement of revenues and expenditures as of April 30th, 2026. Mover and a seconder. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Any questions on said report? Seeing none, be it resolved that council receive the April 2026 Tweed bylaw operations log as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the animal control officer April 2026 animal control and livestock investigation report, please? Mover and a seconder. Thank you, Councilor Palmetier. Thank you, Councilor Fleeler. Any questions on said report? Seeing none, be it resolved that council receive the April 2026 animal control and livestock investigation report as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the yard sale bylaw, please? I'm moving a seconder. Thank you, Councilor Palmetier. Valley-Kit, and thank you, Councilor Fleeler. Any questions on this bylaw change? Seeing none, be it resolved that council receive the yard sale bylaw report as presented, and further that council repeal bylaw number 2003-23 to regulate selling of goods and yard sales. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the building inspection Services Board, April 2026, Billing Permits Report, Statement of Revenues and Expenditures as of April 30th, 2026. Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarche. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Any questions on that? Seeing none, be it resolved that council receive the April 2026 Billing Inspection Services Board, BISB report as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table bylaw number 2026-35, a bylaw to establish site plan control within the municipality of Tweed to designate the whole of the municipality of Tweed as a site plan control area pursuant to section 41 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, chapter P13, as amended, and to adopt certain procedures for the processing of site plan control applications and to exempt certain classes of development from approval of plans and drawings. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarche. Thank you, Councillor Valley-Cat. Any questions on this? Seeing none, excuse me, be it resolved that bylaw number 2026-35, establish second plan control within the municipality of Tweed be read a first, second, and third and final time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 19th day of May, 2026. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table bylaw number 2026-36, a bylaw to exempt a portion of land from the part lot control provisions of the Planning Act, RSO 1990. A mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Thank you, Councillor Valley-Cat. Any questions on said bylaw? Seeing none, be it resolved that bylaw number 2026-36 to exempt a portion of land from the part lot control provisions of the Planning Act, RSO 1990 be read a first, second, and third and final time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 19th day of May, 2026. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the Elma Vanderway correspondence respecting speeding and safety concerns on Marlbank Road and Old Hungerford Road? Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarche. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Any questions on that? We know we have, go ahead. Did you, any questions, comments?
I guess it's kind of, she's stating a lot of the same things we heard about Luffman Road. It seems to be Marlbank Road's a bit of a speedway by the sounds of it. I don't know what more we could do. Maybe that Black Cat can go to Marlbank Road as well. As well as Luffman.
Yeah, because that is a major thoroughfare. And it's 80 clicks on there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, it's good to bring it to our attention and awareness, and we do realize that that road also requires work. It's one that Ryan also has in the plan as something that needs to be done. But thank you very much. Okay, so be it resolved that council receive the correspondence from Elma Vanderway respecting speeding and safety concerns on Marlbank Road and Old Hungerford Road. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table Trudeau's report in Banquet Hall, Stokel Lodge, a request of support letters read big ticket, small town temporary extension of liquor license, Tweed Stampede temporary extension of liquor license, and Tweed Stampede for the Canadian Armed Forces aircraft to fly below 500 feet. I'm moving a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Valley-Cat. Thank you, Councillor Fleeter. Any questions? Seeing none. Oh boy. Be it resolved that council agrees to provide a support letter for the Canadian Armed Forces aircraft flyby below 500 feet during the Tweed Stampede's opening ceremonies on September 5th at 2 p.m. and September 6th at 1 p.m. And further, that council agrees to provide a letter of no objection to Stokel Lake Lodge for a temporary extension to the liquor license for service in the outdoor area behind the main resort at the following municipally significant events. Big Ticket Small Town on Friday, July 24th and Saturday, July 25th from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. and Tweed Stampede in Jamboree on Thursday, September 3rd, Friday, September 4th, Saturday, September 5th, and Sunday and September 6th from 11 till 2 each day. All in favor? Thank you. Got to have a mover and a seconder to table the Tweed Victoria Cemetery Board request, which includes Bethel Cemetery and Actonlight Cemetery. Tweed Victoria Cemetery Board, which includes Bethel Cemetery, Actonlight Cemetery, requests annual funding from the municipality of Tweed to assist with their expenses in maintaining these three cemeteries. The board will continue to oversee the care of the cemeteries. I have a move in a second to get that on the table. Thank you, Deputy Mayor LaMarche. Thank you, Councillor Valley-Cat. Any questions? Yes, go ahead, Councilor.
Your Worship, I think this should be a provincial,
No, no kidding.
like, we, I don't know how many cemeteries we look after now. I get Cindy. I think there's probably 3 or 4 that we look after now.
But I was talking about, I agree with
And
you.
it's something that has to be done,
Yeah.
but why should that fall on us? I don't know.
No, I think we've raised that before, and then there's some people, like, there's been little motions from other municipalities talking about that recently, about these graveyards. But I think, in speaking with CAO Diskey, the one thing that we don't want to see happen is for them to walk away from the big cemetery up here, and then it's our responsibility.
know.
So, I mean, in order to help them with this, it's just a small gesture right now, but I agree with you 100%. There's so many things that currently fall under our purview that shouldn't.
And if you go to church, I remember when I was a kid, if you're not there on time, you wouldn't get a seat. Now
Yeah,
you-
no, nobody,
you
yeah.
have your choice of 100.
Yeah. Thank you for raising that. Be it resolved that council refer the funding request of the Tweed Victoria Cemetery for 2027 budget deliberations. Also, they're not looking for it this year.
No, it's in their budget.
Okay. Go ahead, CO Diskey.
Through you, Mayor, they are looking for it this year, but we didn't budget for it. They got their request in late, so I've recommended that we consider it in the 2027 budget deliberations.
I won't be here.
You're up to speed on that.
He hasn't told them yet.
We'll have to respond to their letter.
So are we okay with that? Yeah, okay. Be it resolved that, well, it did. Be it resolved that council refer the funding request of the Tweed Victoria Cemetery Board to the 2027 budget deliberations. All in favor? Thank you. Temporary use agreement. A request for an agreement has been received to allow a trailer to be used as a temporary residence and/or storage unit until June 30th, 2026 at 309 Vanderwater Road, while completing the purchase of the property and obtaining a building permit for the construction of a dwelling. Once the purchase is completed and a building permit is obtained, the owners will reapply for a further agreement to allow the trailer to be used as a temporary residence while completing the construction of a dwelling on the said lands. Any comments? Yeah. Okay, see, okay, I have a mover and a second to get that. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Okay, no questions. Be it resolved that council authorize the mayor and CAO to execute an agreement with Bryson Brook McAlpine, the purchasers of 155 Asseltine Road, to allow a trailer to be used as a temporary residence and/or storage unit June 30th, 2026 at 309 Vanderwater Road, while completing the purchase of the property and obtaining a building permit for the construction of a dwelling. And further, that council authorize the mayor and CAO to execute a further agreement, if requested, to permit a trailer to be used as a temporary residence at 309 Vanderwater Road during the construction of a dwelling. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to amend the 2026 council meeting schedule? This is bylaw number 2026-29, known as procedural bylaw for the municipality of Tweed, sets out that regular meetings of council shall be held in accordance with the council meeting schedule as determined by council and passed by council resolution prior to the end of each calendar year. A request by the mayor has been received to change the date of the September 26th evening council meeting to September 29th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Since this November 17th, 2026 council meeting will be the inaugural meeting of the new council, staff requests the addition of a daytime council meeting on Tuesday, November 24th, 2026 at 9 a.m. Could I get a mover and a seconder to get that on the table? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette, and thank you, Councillor Fleeter. Any questions? Seeing none. Be it resolved that council hereby amends the council meeting schedule by changing the September 22nd, 2026 evening council meeting to September 9th, 2026 at 6 p.m. and further amends the council meeting schedule to add a daytime meeting on Tuesday, November 24th, 2026 at 9 a.m. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder to table the Ministers of Seniors and Accessibility, claiming June is Seniors Month in Ontario? a time to acknowledge and recognize the amazing seniors in our lives across this province. This year's theme, Ontario Seniors, Let's Get Moving, highlights the importance of supporting our older adults through the programs and initiatives and promote wellness, social engagement, and education. Honorable Raymond Cho, Minister of Seniors and Accessibility, invite the municipality of Tweed to proclaim June as Seniors Month. Have a mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Any questions? Just want to say that when you look at our community groups, if it wasn't for our seniors, we would be dead in the water. They do so much for us. And I know everybody around this table is extremely grateful for their contribution to our community. And we, without reservation, are looking forward to claiming June as Seniors Month and congratulating every senior that we see throughout the whole month. Be it resolved that Council proclaim June as Seniors Month in the municipality of Tweed, and further that Council authorize staff to promote Seniors Month on the municipal website, in the municipal news column, and on social media. All in favor? Thank you. Correspondence. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table correspondence information, please? Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarche. Okay, I do have a couple of, when I get down to requests for support, I do have a, where are they? Oh, they're there. I was actually looking at supporting almost all of them, except 12.6 and 12.7, 12.12.6 and 12.12.7. Except those. That's what I was looking at. Are we okay with that? So how do we do that again?
We can just say that for now.
Okay, okay. And then there's a bunch of things that I have tabled in there as well. Okay, Lori, are you okay to make that?
Just a mover, like you move to that, you can second it.
Okay. Can I get us? Oh, I think Councillor Valiquette would second them because he said I'm good with that. Okay. All in favor of those? Thank you. And okay, and then all in favor of the information correspondence as tabled. Okay, thank you. And now we go down to committee board reports. Could I have a mover and seconder to table the committee board reports, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarche. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Are there any questions on any of those reports? Seeing none, be it resolved that Council receive the committee board minutes as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder for the confirmatory bylaw? Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarche. All in favor? Thank you. Be it resolved that confirmatory bylaw number 2026-37 be read at first, second, third, and final time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 19th day of May 2026. All in favor? And could I have a mover and a seconder to adjourn today's meeting? Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Be it resolved that council adjourn, Lori, at
2:42.
2:42. Thank you. Great meeting, gang.